at Marseille in the Champions League. Finally getting underway in that particular competition. It's been a very stagnant, a very disappointing start to Ivan Juric's tenure at Atalanta. But that win, hopefully, for Atalanta fans, they will be hoping that it will be a turning point in the season and they can kick on. Perfect opposition for them this afternoon. Sassuolo, who come into this game on the back of the loss to what would then put in place Genoa on Monday night. Genoa picking up their first win of the campaign against Sassuolo. So what will Fabio Grosso's men have in store for Atalanta? Will we see them bounce back? Or will they follow them limply and let Atalanta dominate? Atalanta have put so much hands in their squad. We've seen that on show this afternoon. Teams to follow and the players come out of the tunnel in a matter of moments. It is a very strong Atalanta lineup that Ivan Juric has named for this contest. And now the underachievers play host to the overachievers today as Atalanta and Sassuolo do battle at the New Balance Arena. The post-Gasperini era has started poorly under Ivan Juric, who knows results must improve if these to continue in the hot seat. On the other side of the coin, Fabio Grosso's newly promoted Neroverdi sit comfortably in 12th with 4 points we already acquired this season. Many that tip them to be involved in a relegation dogfight, but no such thing for the Neroverdi thus far. It is match day 11, live from Bergamo at the New Balance Arena, and we have action for you. Atalanta taking on Sassuolo. Atalanta fans expectant. Atalanta fans football. They've get the job done against a side who they've beaten on so many occasions over the past decade. So they visit this one for Sassuolo, and they rip the mold. It's a famous away win. It will be their first away win here in Bergamo, but over 10 viewers. But all eyes on that man, the match winner of Wednesday night at the Stade de Vélodrome in Marseille. Lazar Sanagic with the exclusively taken drive from a long distance would beat the goalkeeper into the top corner, awarding Atalanta 3 valuable points. The newly formatted Champions League 2 phase. A well-needed win for Ivan Juric's men, and this is how he lines up his team this afternoon. There are 4 changes, one in defence as Arnold comes in for Juve City. Well, Belanova is preferred to Zamevski on the flanks. And there's 2 changes in attack as Adamon Lukman comes in for Kamaldi Suleimana. Nigma Krstovic is preferred to Gianluca Scamacca. The many Atalanta fans wondered whether the rift between Ivan Juric and Adamola Lukman, which many football journalists here in Italy were talking about post-Marseille, have an impact on whether Lukman would start today. But LaDea is in the starting 11. LaDea is and does remain Atalanta's best attacking players. There's obviously that this afternoon. Mario Pasalic donning the armband for Atalanta this afternoon on the left-hand side of your screen there. Martin Biru, club captain, is on the bench. Familiar figure. Dimo Debardi on the right from Sassuolo. Still not Filippo Romagna, who's the Sassuolo club captain. He's had for the next 2 wins. Mamelio Curtsini is your on-film referee. And the dub-in is Sonny Job, the assistant referee for today's cup. Devna, his assistant, Nahin. Aware of Atalanta's attacking firepower, Fabio Grosso deploys a 4-man defence made up entirely of centre-backs. Fali Kande is in for Josh Dorig on the left-hand side of defence, whilst further forward, Ayus Hadina gets a rare start. He's preferred to Bamon Lorionte, and Sassuolo's boldly other change. Dardi and Pinamonti make up a very powerful, very potent front 3 for the matter of that. fixture that Atalanta have dominated over the last decade. 9 successive wins here in Bergamo against Sassuolo. Can they make it 10 in a row? They really need to, as they are 6 without a win in Serie A. 5 draws in that are 6. Ivan Juric desperately searching for that long-awaited win. Will it be this afternoon here in the Sunday lunchtime kickoff between Atalanta and Sassuolo? Sometimes with these lunchtime kickoffs, the atmosphere can be a little bit stale, a little bit dry, but not today, not at the New Balance Arena. Here goes GewissStadium. Spicciati, but Tustvets early on. It's played in right there on the right-hand side. Spets playing. It wasn't he who got the final touch. But before Pinamonti, it was in fact not Berardi, so if they count Tustvets. And there's the danger sign early on for Atalanta. With no bones about it. Despite that loss to Genoa, Sassuolo have some very talented players down there, particularly in attacking areas. And Dera will be keen to show what he's all about. For Ramon Morion says that to be patient, man on loan from Como. This did third start of the season. Manu Matic dig it forwards. Padera and a foot race here with Kosovo. Well, there's not many of them are travelling Sassuolo fans, but they're making themselves heard at the moment. To approach the 2-minute mark, it is Neroverdi who have LaDea on the back foot early on. Want to take it short. With the swap at Kapniseki, but he gets his hands to it at the near post. Beautiful ball to find Adamola Lukman. Lukman picking up, spotting Samavcic. Zanan over. Lostovic. It's in a decent position there. Samavcic couldn't quite get his head up in time. Pinamonti trying to flick it forward to Fadera. Very open start here at Bergamo. The start of the game. Wonderful addition to the Sassuolo squad this season. Aliou Pereira, the Gambian, sent out to play with Cesc Fabregas at Como. They're opting to dig into the market and sign Rodriguez of LaDea. I mean, Fadera as such. Sorbi's chances in the first team limited. Santiago coming back from injury too. Moved to pastures new and enjoying himself at Sassuolo. Here he goes, testing the pace once again of Kosovo. He battled down there, down Sassuolo's left, where the Kosovo and Delanola could keep tabs on the Gambian. Matic goes to goal. Poor appearance by Kapniseki. This restored his Serie A Nemanja Matic for 2.5 years. His last goal against Salernitana from Roma. Costa. Gypsy player for Atalanta, not just in Gasperini era, now in the new Ivan Juric era. Ada, who's taking charge of Atalanta, he always seems to be in and around the first team. Davide Zappacosta. Stellanova steady back up onto his feet quickly. Left off ball. Shins in the wide spaces for Atalanta. Selevski and Demna on the bench. Juric preferring Zappacosta and Bellanova. Honest Arnold who came to the club as a left wing back, but he's deployed more as a left centre back in recent weeks. And into the side away at Torino. Here's Zappacosta. Big chance early on here. Harnor, back to Zappacosta. Good idea from the youngster. Even keeps it alive. 2 on there for Mukman. Look forward to the idea, but the execution. Lucas Scanak watching on the ball. Atalanta, ex-Sassuolo, of course. This breakout season, 2021-22, 16 goals in 36 Serie appearances for the Neroverdi. Lost a big money move to the Premier League, to West Ham United for just under 40 million euros. A strange career path, Gianluca Scamacca. He joined PSV in the Netherlands as a youngster, 15 years of age, before moving back to Italy, to Sassuolo, the development squad. Pasalic. This is Padlock. Now Bellanova. Atalanta keeping it well in the centre of the park. Just as I say that, intercepted. Fadera stays on his feet. Feeded corner. Corner still being passed to Branks out of the Sassuolo starting 11. You're going on to Krstovic, who's arguably been involved in the game so far. The ex-Lecce. Krstovic softens over. Varenovic storm defending. Silica, deep physicality shown by the Bosnian. Good shove in the back there. Krstovic, he loves to put his body on the line for the team. Too excited player to watch. Really first into my AtalantaMatch shirt so far. He got that brace, his first 2 goals for the club away at Serie. Hasn't made earlier on in the season, but didn't have few and far between. Krstovic. Who's looking to shoot? This is Samajic. No, he can shoot. Did stall against Marseille. Bellanova hangs it up. Pulls it away to Lukman. Added more than Lukman off the line. Remarkable defending by Jake says. Well, that's worth a goal in itself. Taking one for the team, the Indonesian international. How on earth did he get to that ball? And I'm on the Lukman. Unbelievable himself. Superb defending from Ites. Poor defending in truth on the Sassuolo back line. Allowing Adam on the Lukman so much time. But how about this? Chipo was beaten, but Vites was not. Sadly, he's going to have to take some time off the field, he says, to receive some medical treatment, so Sassuolo temporarily down to 10. Big chance early on for Adam Lukman. Still well those rumours of rift between himself and Ivan Juric. For those who missed it, he reacts in the best possible way after being substituted on Wednesday night away at Marseille in the Champions League. Atalanta at the time drawing 0-0. It was before Sarajic's winning goal in the 90th minute. But making way for Yunus Musa, who, as we know, is more the midfield player rather than an attacker. feeling that it was too much of a conservative change, as wanted Atalanta to go in search of the winner. As we got to the end, here goes Samajic. Also with the right, Krstovic. Slidison in support, Krstovic. Player in SerieA, Krstovic, who's attempted the most shots per minute. He's been on the field. It was nice to see him get the ball under his belt, turn, swivel, shoot. Tried to test the goalkeeper. Stefanti, all too familiar with that after his 2 seasons with the Giallorossi. 18 goals across those 2 seasons. Competitions. Demanova. Peterson. Been out every led the Brazilian. His best. Well, Sassuolo fashioned that chance early on. Here in the first 2 minutes of the game, felt it pushed that, so the defending from Atalanta, but they haven't really tested. Antonio Percassi and Watchon will be happy with how his side have settled since then. Peterson. Now Pasaric. Asuru. Well one back there by Nemanja Matic, but once again, the second time in a row, more into the strikers. Left to get accuracy. First it's Dushvets, then the Serbian, Nemanja Matic, who brings a lot of experience to this Sassuolo midfield, 37 years of age, still going strong. Neroverdi. Atalanta have a player down here, Sassuolo will not mind about that. Dushvets, lovely ball. Almost enough on the whole back. I've seen who he was up against. Around Beranova, one of the quickest in the league. No, but once again involved in the Italy squad. And they play Gennaro Gattuso for today's upcoming games. World Cup qualification. Against Estonia and Norway. It's like a huge goal difference swing for Italy to qualify for the World Cup. Automatically, it looks as though they're going to have to go through the playoffs. Even if they beat Norway, I had a significant scoreline at San Siro. It's the weekend. This was the challenge from Vuhremovic on Samajic. It's still struggling after taking one to the face from Adam Omenukwen. 5 minutes ago. It's of course a concern here for Sassuolo. He's been undeniably their best defender this season. Jaites after his €4 million switch from Venezia. Public deal that included Fanny Camden, who was operating at left back for Sassuolo. €8 million we heard as the reported fee. Pasaric. Now Samajic. Krstovic wanted it early. This is Peterson. Samantha keeping Sassuolo moving. The touch there on the Serbian Samajic. Look who made the run. Zappacosta calling for it out wide. This is Davide Zappacosta. Senior spotted he was in an offside position. It's very tight. Very tight indeed. Balukiewicz was playing him off. Lukiewicz, one of the 4 centre-backs in the Sassuolo backline. It is a very robust-looking backline for Sassuolo with Balukiewicz. It is Vuhremovic, Ali Kande, all out-and-out centre-backs, but Kande and Balukiewicz providing extra support. Stabiel knowing the importance and the need to keep it tight, particularly early on. You can afford to go down here to Atalanta, who haven't been free scoring in truth this season. Got the talent certainly down there. Pause problem. It's a clear front of goal. Here goes Belanov, and low ball into the area. went away by Gites. 15 minutes gone at the New Balance Arena, and still 0-0 between Atalanta and Sassuolo. None of them going the closest. Whose effort was blocked on the line by Gites heroically. Been at the front toe-to-toe with Zapmacosta Kamniseki, not taking any chances. What's the question on Sassuolo fans? It's how can they get Bigomedad more involved in the game? Here he is on the ball now. Let's make things happen for Sassuolo. That's a decent ball to find LaDea. Goes down far too easily. Too important for Berardi to bit too long. The Pinamonti certainly be target man for Sassuolo this afternoon. The intended target of those kinds of crosses, but he hasn't really getting anywhere near the actual Pinamonti so far. Fabio Grosso, the Sassuolo head coach, said on the eve of the general match last Monday. He expects Pinamonti to be getting hints of the double figures for goals to do this season, given the creative players around him. So far, 3 in his first 10 games of the season. He's certainly important. He tops to potentially do that. He's already had that one season where he's exploded and gotten into the high teens in terms of goals. Was good for about 9 to 10 goals this season, Pinamonti, but Buster's calling on him. Keeps Sigeti to Rio Bertuzzo Sitovi's Morty to do more in front of goal. Another KG of the year at New Balance Arena, 18 minutes on the clock. Atalanta controlling possession. Moving forward, just the one big chance so far. And then Sudo. Ederson playing as a forward now. This is Belanova. It's a Samacic being marshaled really well by Kushtet. Finley, that's been the instruction given by Fabio Grosso for Kushtet to not let Samacic out of his sights. Belanova. To Pinamonti. Ederson spreads it out to Davide Zappacosta once again. This is Lukman. Atalanta's danger man. Gives it to Sassuolo's danger man, Nimo Berardi. Once again, Sassuolo spurning possession far too easily, and that will take Fabio Grosso. Hashevich. Lukman now. Picking on Darukiewicz. Lukman left it towards Samacic, but easy away by Tushtet. It's Pinamonti now. Iki. Grosso balling the car his side. I don't put too much of the ball in the opening 10 minutes here. Milanovic. Helmut Fadera. Second style of the game that Fadera's won for Sassuolo. The better start this one for Sassuolo. Last Monday they fell at home to what were then 20th place Genoa in the Serie A standings. And Ruslan Malinowski leading the Grifone. Fantastic lead and well taken strike. We're used to seeing from him. Only good at Addy, this man. Florio back for Sassuolo, but it wasn't to beat. You can see the last minute goal, Neil Ostergaard. Then his first win of the season, Poppen above Fiorentina, who is still yet to play. It's a very it's interesting and enticing game. We played at Parassi at 3 o'clock today. Genoa Fiorentina, the bottom two in Serie A, going toe to toe. Genoa, of course, now coached by Daniele De Rossi, World Cup winner. The players who scored in the shootouts fought Italy against France. Another one of those also scored the deciding penalty. The dugout for Sassuolo, Fabio Grosso. That no Italy fan will ever forget. Fadera, be careful there because the press was on. Monti, much better from Monti getting it ahead of Zakian. Matic, and Wobbs here, chance on to when he pats Fadera in the centre. I'm not sure if Matic should do it. Good work from the Serbian. Pickpocket is down, but he tweeted 140. That's too much in the way. Bob options. So, they just said, what's a Kirstovic? Pointing can't get there. Zapacosta can. Now Lookman. Now they want on the ball. Adding on the Lookman, digs out the cross. Finds Belladova, which Fed did enough. As we said at the beginning of the match, this is a match that Atalanta normally dominates. 16 meetings in Serie A, in Bergamo, and they have been victorious 13 times. Won each of their last 9. Lost 3 games here in Agrupon. Bergamo have an aggregate of 7 goals to Atalanta and just the 2 for Sassuolo. It's been complete dominance. Sassuolo have started well here halfway through the first half. We're creating LaDea at the moment, and that'll please Grosso. Push fence. A corner to the Norwegian. This is Balkiewicz. Dino Beratti onto Balkiewicz. With a mismatch in terms of pace between himself and Arnold. Beratti going low this time. That idea. Very still the ideas of how they want to play, getting it out to the winger and then with the inverted cross back in with the stomp to put that out. Of course with his left, Lookman for Atalanta with the right. The attacking players for both Atalanta and Sassuolo have been able to match onto those balls into the box. Decent deliveries from Nimo Berardi. Huge touch from Costulo. This is Fadera. Inamonsi onto Fadera. Napoli. Candid. Tushmet. Delivering towards Berardi. Easy touch there from Arnold. Enough concentration there from Odilon Costulo. Let's see, Atalanta's passing accuracy in the first 24.5 minutes, 95%. They've used it well. It's urgency, but if you're getting the ball forward to the likes of Samajic, Kirstovic, and Lookman, that's been the problem. It's been all too horizontal, not nearly enough vertical. Matic. That's a nice quarter from LaDea. LaDea going down. Referee has a big decision to make. He's pointing to the spot. Honest Arno trying to shield the ball away from LaDea, inadvertently catching the Sassuolo winger in the face. And Valerio Prezzini took a long time to make up his mind, but he's pointed to the spots. LaDea went down instantaneously. The arm coming across the face of the Gambian. For the referee, initially it looked as if he was pointing to the spots, but he was given a goal kick, being fanned to Atalanta. Up here, it looked as though he's pointing at the spots. It's been a very soft penalty call, that's for sure. Fadi and they went over to go and speak to the fourth official during all of that. But deep way on, the ironic cheers from the Atalanta fans, telling LaDea to get to his feet. Certainly there was contact, and whether it was enough to send him hiding over like that is another matter. That's the right call from the referee. Oh, it's the first sign of the game, a warning sign for Atalanta in the first 2 minutes. Which had a chance to put Sassuolo ahead. No forward, nothing more really. It looked easy for Arno, before he trailed his arms. LaDea went to the ground, gave the referee a decision to make. Atalanta certainly need to do more. 18 minutes or so to remain in this first half. Pinamonti onto this one. The referee tries to play an advantage and then gives the penalty kick. Well, mistake after mistake in the back line for Atalanta. This time Isaac here with a mishit header back to Calcio, who committed himself. Pinamonti, credit to him, he never gave up on the ball. In an onside position, Sassuolo's number 99 when the initial ball was played through. Too strong for Arno. Prezzini tried to play the advantage as the ball fell to Verratti. He comes back and awards the penalty kick. This time, no debate whether it is a spot kick or not. Clear contact from Capdesecchi on Pinamonti. And a nightmare last 5 minutes for Atalanta. The responsibility falls to Domenico Verratti. Big moments here. Easily approached the half-hour mark. Verratti. He notched his 150th for Sassuolo on Monday night. And Nemo Verratti is back at it again today. He converts from the penalty spot. And he gives Sassuolo a deserved 1-goal lead in Bergamo. They thought they should have had a penalty 2 minutes ago. It was waved away by the referee. There was no doubt that this one was a spot kick. But expertly converted by Mimo Berardi. 2-2 for the Sassuolo talisman. There's been some debates in the Sassuolo ranks on who should take the penalties this season. Andrea Pinamonti missed against Verona. Despite scoring the rebound, he missed against Atalanta on this very ground 2 seasons ago. Pinamonti. So Domenico Verratti is now in the top 5 scorers of penalty takers in that Serie A history. such a key player for Sassuolo down the years, underrated by so many in the Italian game, and it is he who gives the Neroverdi a 1-goal lead on the half-hour. Atalanta came into this match with real optimism following that win in Marseille. It's a picture that could speak 1,000 words. Ben Juric deliberating what to do, what has gone wrong for his Atalanta side. Not just today, but this season. Both bites in the side, so much talent on display. Very strong 11 named by Croatian manager, but it's his side who fully. As such, Atalanta are leapfrogging, Sassuolo, I should say, are leapfrogging Atalanta in the Serie A table. Still plenty of time for Atalanta to put things right. The Albans don't look good for LaDea, just 3 goals scored from their last 6 games in all competitions. Torsino. This is Ederson. Hašarić. Away from the Croatian. Hašarić into Krstović. Nice turn. Better from Atalanta, moving it quickly. Bellanova. So much space to work with here. Raul Bellanova. It's a billable, considering how much time he had to pick out the white cross. Player quality has to be doing better. And Zappacosta, all the way back to Arnold. As well as this man, Ian will be disappointed with how that Sassuolo penalty came about. Referee plays the advantage. Ederson was fouled there by LaDea, initiating by Curtini. Good to see the referee trying to play the advantage as he did with the penalty incident, and falling to Mimo Berardi, who struck Pinamonti as opposed to Nenian on target. Kosulo. Make the lamps in Kosulo. He goes corner. 5 white shirts flooding forward. One of them is Pinamonti. 101. Penalty kick for Sassuolo. It's converted by Mimo Berardi. 4 minutes ago. Neroverdi already brought into this game and look confident. They look packed. They're making things really difficult for Atalanta. Barukiric. Let's touch there off Davide Zappacosta. But Berardi scored his 5th goal in this ground after dispatching the penalty. His first here the new Valence arena for nearly 4 years though. Atalanta hung on his favourite Serie A opposition. 7 goals down the years against LaDea. Ederson. Dig ahead of him. A movement from Samajic, Krstović and Lukman. Those out wide to Zappacosta. Always free. Zappacosta, he's done well into the area. Davide Zappacosta. Who's a shot on target? Inadvertently hitting Krstović. Wonderful from Davide Zappacosta, rolling back the years there. So we have another look at Mimo Berardi's penalty kick, sending Kavneseki the wrong way. Atalanta fans unhappy with Adi Mulic, the Sassuolo goalkeeper, who decided to take the goal kick from the other side of his secure box, and he's been given a yellow card. Time to wind down the clock there, the Kosovan goalkeeper. Lukman spreads it out to Betanova. How Atalanta needs something, anything, in what remains of this first half, is to give them a platform to go on. So, just get back into the match or in the match. There's still plenty of time for them left to do that, considering the quality they've got on their bench, the likes of Scamacca, Kamadis, Sulemana, Shad, the Kittilare, Neil Maldini. Certainly players who can come on and really make a difference. Sassuolo. Feed forward to Krstovic. 3 nods, interested initially, but she does blow his whistle. Krstovic has been leaving one in there on his man. So he making the most of that, taking one into the midriff, but was he who a similar challenge from Krstovic earlier on in the half. Done a 7.5 to play. Yeah, the New Balance Arena. The Ovens for Atalanta, despite not looking great, considering they're losing 1-0. They are the team scored the most in the last 15 minutes of first halves this season, 5 goals. Another one here, that's for sure. Just to give Sassuolo something to think about going into the half-time interval. Such a psychological boost for LaDea if they can claw themselves back into the clash. What little time remains of this first half. No surprise to see Poli and Busquets, the Sassuolo centre midfielders who have the most distance so far. Virabi, that's a Matic. That's a nice ball to find Cornet. Paderi in the centre, as is Falikande. With the last player that Sassuolo fans wanted the ball to run through there. Falikande, with all due respect, defender on the edge of the box. Lasting it over the bar. Wildly. Villanova. Basulu. Same ball. We're always looking back. We're always looking to find it in. It's never aggressive from an Atalanta point of view. Credit to Sassuolo. Closed down LaDea expertly. Kept it tight between the lines too. Once of Samacic and Lukman, who can have an effect, particularly when the games are tight. Getting into the game not nearly enough. Sassuolo, the most unpredictable side in Serie A this season. The last 5 read win, draw, loss, win, loss. Now they're winning again. No such thing as consistency under Fabio Canosso this season, but they'll be happy with how they played in the first 40 minutes here. Went up against a side currently playing in the Champions League. Villanova. Full balls from Samacic. Krstovic trying all he can to just hurry it. That's all these Sassuolo defenders keeping the ball in, but not to be on this occasion. 5 minutes to go until the half-time whistle. Sassuolo fans with everything to cheer about. We will be putting them ahead via the penalty spots of the 29th minute. Those have Pinamonti, Sanacic. Sassuolo momentarily out of position. And Atalanta forfeit. This is Lukman. Those low to Sanacic. He wants it back from the Serbian. This is Zapa Costa. Hangs it up towards Krstovic. Mehmet Pasalic. Better from the Hunt side, much better. Nijigit Putri committing men forward. Isaac Ian joining the action from centre back. Vuric been for there. Pinamonti, well won by him. It's been his best first half in Atalanta colours, but he's won that header well. Pedersen. Now Pasalic, Samacic. Push straight up the vital touch to take it away from Krstovic. That's why Samacic could be so effective for Atalanta. He between the lines, more central, who's been deployed as a right-sided forward. Just in for Bellanova, that space in that channel between the central striker Krstovic and Bellanova, but he's far more effective in the centre. We saw that during his years with Udinese. Tustex, back to Berardi. Belukiri. Calmly done by Edison. Testovic with the foul. His personal contest and battle with Luharemovic continuing. It's another foul from the Montenegrin. The big question will be going into the second half, can Sassuolo keep up this level of press? Because they've forced the stakes that have come away in this first half, particularly in the lead up to the penalty kick. Ian with the poor header back to his goalkeeper. Arnold not winning that first ball. It thanks to the constant pressure of Bistavio Grosso. Neroverdi side. They've been fantastic so far. Well worth their 1-goal lead. Luharemovic. Trying to keep the ball. Small amount of time that remains of his first half. The minutes at least added on. Like Lezzini, although an injury. Jay says early on in the match, was struck in the face on his shot from Adamola. Look, when seems a long time ago now. So the 45th minutes of the first half. Samacic on the corner first time to Krstovic. He finds a look, but much better this from LaDea. But this been solved, and I don't know the look man. Need of sums up Atalanta's first half so far. Hockey, their most talented player and most technical player. He's consoling a simple ball. 5 minutes of time added on. Well, there'd be 2 or 3, but potentially not 5. Still plenty of time left in this first half for Atalanta to carve out one more opportunity and test Moric, who's been bystander really in this first half. They're absolutely taking no chances by Tomoric. For red by Pasalic. This is Edison. Brazilian taking over once again, has done nothing ahead of the inspiration. Duos from the Atalanta fans. Melvin Badera is central his way. Has he got the pace to get away from Edison? This is Adio Fadera. He did it offside position, so would have counted. It looked to be a mile offside. Stage of the referee decided to blow it earlier. The issue was that he started being his own half, which from that angle, it's a done. Never really looked composed there, Fadera. One thing is clear as we come to the end of the first half. Ivan Juric, the coach of Atalanta, must make changes during our half-time interval. This is clearly not working yet. Sassuolo have figured them out. They've stuck to the roster's game plan, and it's worth keeping at Serie effectively there. One goal up thanks to a penalty kick from Neroverdi. Oh yeah, Levante was killed down by goalkeeper Aiko Kameseki. Kustovic, that's a nice touch. Samajic releasing Lukman. Atalanta looking to claw themselves level just before the half-time whistle. Lukman. Tushfence. 2.5 minutes of the first half to play. Tushfence from region for Sassuolo. Trying to keep the ball as Sassuolo recycle it, keeping Atalanta away and winding down the clock. Poor ball from Zappacosta. That takes the interception. This is better at the corner. So much space for Sassuolo to play through Atalanta. So the decision from the referee trying to play advantage after the foul on these at key end, but no advantage was played, so he brings it back for the foul. Would be an Atalanta player going into the dressing room at half-time, facing the Raptors, Ivan Juric. Zappacosta taking on lead, says it's done really well again. Zappacosta. He goes down. Referee not interested. Half-hearted calls of the penalty from Zappacosta himself. Ederson going to keep it alive, asking lops of Bellanova. Nice touch. This is Cosuno. So many queuing up for it. Camp Bellanova. There's it into the box. You know, it's gives him almighty, you know. Even so many under par performances. Players in Atalanta colours, but Davide Zappacosta is certainly not one of them. In gather trickery pace showed by the 33-year-old now. Pouring in, says, hitting it the base. He goes down, and it wasn't close amount of contact, but a very soft penalty kick. Should it have been given? He gave Pepsi once again something to dig about. Well, the first half has come and gone in Bergamo, and it is certainly going the way of Sassuolo. Neroverdi converting a penalty kick after Andrea Pinamonti was pulled down by goalkeeper Marco Carnesecchi. fabulous it is. 151st all in Sassuolo colours. That presents a quality problem for Atalanta as they go in at half-time, trailing Sassuolo by a goal to nil. Much to think about for Atalanta coach Ivan Buric. Coming back to the New Balance Arena where we're almost ready to get underway in this second half, and it is Atalanta, the home side, with the ball to do here in front of their fans. They trail Sassuolo by a goal to nil. Still a little bit up. He expertly taken penalty kick just before the half-hour mark. It's had Juric had 15 minutes to communicate with his players to get to the point of what he wants to see in this second half. It was lifeless in the first half from LaDea. Can they perform any better? They have made two substitutions. Beracim City and Charles de Ketelaere are ordered in this second half. Here is the recently introduced Jim City. Once a launcher forward to Krstovic. The still new plans. Ederson, the men to make way for Atalanta and choose. Ederson did not look 100% fit. He has had his injury problems this season, towards the back end of last season too. It's Samajic playing in a more central role, allowing De Ketelaere preparation to get forward. Sassuolo starting the second half the way they started the first, on the front foot. This is Mimo Berardi. Lovely feet. Berardi. Into Pinamonti. Pinamonti. The lightning start in the second half from Neroverdi. Preempted by Berardi. Finished by Pinamonti. Sassuolo 2. Atalanta 0. Being stoked from bad to worse for LaDea. He had all the tide in the world to swivel and pick his spots. Great initial ball from Cornet to find Berardi, who still had a lot of work to do. Zappacosta sucked in. Samajic did want to take the risk to concede another penalty. Berardi into Pinamonti. Too strong for Jim City. And how about that for a finish to beat Garnesacci? Composure and vision showed by Berardi. And the same too for Pinamonti. Well, things could get ugly here. New Balance Arena in the second half. Sassuolo leading by 2-0. Where do Atalanta go from here? Samajic thought about the strike. Samajic couldn't keep it down. Then scored a belter in the Champions League against Marseille, that winning goal right to the death to give Atalanta 3 points in the Champions League, but he couldn't repeat the trick here, Samajic. Let's have a look at this here from Pinamonti. The touch, the swivel, the shots. Beracim City introduced during the half-time break to try to add a little bit of solidarity and physical presence into that back line for Atalanta. And he was beaten far too easily. 4 goals already this season for Pinamonti. Ratio better than one at Keen 3. He's enjoying himself. Formation on the Atalanta side. Ketelaere alongside Luford just behind Krstovic. Well, this is where the experienced players in the Atalanta camp, they're going to need to come forward and lead by example. Likes of Pasalic from City, Zappacosta, players who've been through it and seen it all. Just can't settle at the moment, Medea. This is Cornet to Fari Candid. Now Matic being hurried there by Pasalic. It was reading one of the Atalanta fan pages online yesterday following the win over Marseille, and there was so much reason to be optimistic going into this game. Compared Atalanta to a bulldog. Grit their teeth in Marseille. They won through character, not skill or finesse. But Mesecchi, Jim City, Zapacosta, Bellanova, standouts. Cause for concern here for Atalanta unless they can get back. One goal here. Look bad. Well kept out by Adi. GewissStadium goal. The shots on target. More Lukman this afternoon. Samacic. Way by Pinamonti, the goal scorer. This is Zapacosta. Benadi leading the charge once again. It was he who created Sassuolo's second. And Fali Kande. How much space has he got? Fali Kande, another wayward strike towards goal. He had one in the first half. This one a little bit closer, but still. The accuracy that was ever going to test mud for Cup Mesecchi. Back to the very poetic piece that was written about Atalanta by their fans. Finish with the statement: they defended like a team who know that no mistakes will be tolerated. Well, that can't be said here. There's been so many defensive mishaps already. Italien, but to swing one in, misses Bellanova. Samacic. Melts up Zapacosta. Zapacosta in towards Kastamic. The easy for Boric. Two really tough for Kastamic today. Coming up against two towering defenders such as Idzet, Muharemovic, both the Numi. Well over 6-4. Samacic. Pasalic. Second goal has woken up Atalanta. Lukman once again ending the position his way. It seemed to strike Lukman last. Should the referee saw it that way, he's awarded a corner for Atalanta. Credit to those fans. It's been a miserable start to the season for them, languishing in the bottom half of the table, but they'll keep singing, they'll keep supporting this team. Samacic. Wait by Matic. Samacic playing really well. It's a bit between his teeth. That's a decent ball away by Fali Kande. It's the skipper, Mario Pasalic. Counter Gidilare. Flipped in towards Pasalic. It's there for Krstovic. Muric keeping the ball away from the Montenegrin. Wonderful knockdown from the Croatian Pasalic to find what Gidilare. Muric's subs combining well. The chance to get that one wide. We saw something similar in the first half. Pinamonti being taken out by Mesecchi. This is where Samacic much more comfortable. And a deeper role-based central has taken over the role of Edison. Getting on the ball and making things happen for Atalanta. He's a wasted player in the first half. You feel talent and the vision that he's got. Chip City. The Italien. Hardor. Zapacosta is found by Lukman. David Zapacosta delivering with the left, so just wide by Krstovic. Much better from a LaDea point of view. Quick passing. Zapacosta bombing forward, peeking out Krstovic. Fantastic ball with his weaker left side. Well, the one positive for LaDea is that they are creating in this second half. They do find themselves 2 goals down, of course, but the chances you feel will keep coming. The longer the game goes on, the longer that Sassuolo may begin to tire. Tushvets. Into Pinamonti. Back to Tushvets. Christian Tushvets. That would have made sure of the points. It would have given Sassuolo a 3-goal advantage. Once again, slack defending from an Atalanta point of view. Tushvets taking on his right foot. Patic, showing the way back to Moric. What a signing Nemanja Matic has been. Bringing a big game experience. We've already needed it this season, Sassuolo. LaDea in offside position, as you can see. Well, things don't get any easier for Atalanta after the international break. They have arguably the most difficult match next. In a fortnight stand, they're away at the Maradona to face Conte's Napoli. They then face Eintracht Frankfurt away in the Champions League, and then they're at home here against struggling Fiorentina. 3 really tough games coming up for them. And TV Field will be scrapping for points after a disappointing 14th of the season. Samajic. Might one here for Lookwood. This is Zappacosta. No scratch off the number 77. Strong defending from Valkyrie. That's why Fabio Vanosso deployed 4 centre-backs across the back line for Sassuolo this afternoon. Son, robust, get in the way of those crosses. So far, so good. Woodrex, Italy left back, and gives Neroverdi side. Not perhaps an expected change. It's been a really tough first 27.5 minutes to Nikola Krstovic, and he goes off. Gianluca Scamacca comes on to the applause of the small visiting section of Sassuolo fans. That's all Sassuolo, of course. Gianluca Scamacca, and is up to him to try to stir attackers into the game a little bit better than Krstovic did. He had a couple of half chances, the Montenegrin, but he struggled to get into the game. This is Gianluca Scamacca. So well back by Pasaric. Now Zappacosta seeing walks the ball. Lookman. Atalanta need a little bit of his magic. Lookman. Easy. And there. Bemovic. Samacic. To Pasaric. Now to Kittanaro. Was looking to cut back on that left foot. Scamacca allowed to turn. Forward is on the left foot there. Scamacca instead he tried to play in. And Mona Lupin. Atalanta looked like a team who were about to score and do feel Buric claiming the cross from Zappacosta. But just over half an hour to turn the tide here. Juric is then. Change going up here for the Neroverdi. Ayub Federa has performed fantastically well in the hour that he's been on the field, and he's certainly given Fabio Vanosso something to think about in the games coming up to Sassuolo after the international break. Few Smiths Holden hurry these Atalanta defenders forced the mistake early on in the game that led to the first chance. Comes off. It's a well-needed rest. The Gambian and Union Federa really well. This Pablo Noriote comes on to this place for the remaining 30 minutes. Samacic spreads it out to Relvin and all, but we haven't seen anything that's Torino man today. Disappointing crosses in the first half. But his scintillating best. There's Pasinic getting it back from Scamacca. We're not interested in the protests. Samacic chucked out by his opposing number, the better out of beat. Well, a healthy 2-goal advantage for Sassuolo, but you do feel there's a lot more defending to do. The Atalanta also will continue. Bellanova keyed into the centre, well away by Just Tex. This is Zakian. Sort of forcing Atalanta to play it up wide. The chest to keep the compact. Fleet reformation, almost a 4-5-1 with Inamonti, the only attacking player at the moment. That being Moriarty defending gallantly. Kittelare. Spread wide to Zappacosta. Lovely play, David Zappacosta. This is Lookman from Malpano. Lookman goes down. Midway on. Zappacosta towards the back post. Bellanova attacking it. And Sari Kande in the all-important touch. It's always going to be difficult for any coach to come in and replace Giampiero Gasperini after his dynasty. We have to call it Atalanta qualifying for the Champions League, getting to the quarterfinals, finishing third. And on one occasion, here comes Charles de Ketelada looking for Lukman. Palukiewicz takes the risk, bids it up for a corner. I'm sure he knew where Bellanova was. And Italy ball that quick to it. The Ketelada towards Pasinic, where by Itzes. Going back to Ivan Juric here at Atalanta. With a rather unsuccessful spell with Roma the beginning of last season, of course, and a lot of Atalanta fans did question whether he was the right person to come in and take over after Gasperini. Of course, they do play two very similar styles of football. And then, 3-4-2-1 formation, and marking all over the pitch. There are similarities between the two. Juric actually played Hunter Gasperini when Gasperini was coach of Genoa. They'll be able to find De Ketelada just a little bit too much on that one. The Atalanta back line, but a good idea that's given the thumbs up by the Belgian international. It's over 25 more minutes for Atalanta to get back into this contest. You do feel they can. First goal needs to come quickly though. City help Bellanova. Ketelada keeping it in. And they play by corner. the side find themselves in a difficult situation here, not just 2 goals down, but with the pace of Loriotse, Monti and Berardi, they're always susceptible to the counter-attack. And here is Mimo Berardi. He's put it on goal, and he makes no mistake. This is becoming a nightmare for Atalanta here. 3 goals down to newly promoted Sassuolo. Mimo Berardi with his second of the game. And things are getting very ugly there. Did have a new balance arena. 12 ago, we mentioned the danger of the counter-attack. Sassuolo have absorbed the pressure for the last 20 minutes, and they've stung LaDea on the counter. Mimo Berardi, clinical. Push threats with the assist. No one within 5 meters of Berardi. He had all the time in the world to pick his spots. He swatted past Carlisecchi. Before it leaves to these Sassuolo players. The perfect game plan, the perfect execution of that plan. Against aside. Ready tipped to be at least qualifying to the Champions League, at least chasing the top 4 or 5. And Atalanta look far away from that now. Zappacosta. Ball to nothing. There's an outside position. Well, coming into this end of the 6 without a win, 5 draws and 1 loss. But the last time Atalanta failed to win in 7 consecutive SerieA games. Can't remember an Atalanta side this desperate, dull shy in front of the opposition met. The created chances, there's no doubt about that. It's been tell conviction to the attacking players. They've been looking so very close to scoring, and that's the big worry. Of course, the blame ultimately lies with the coach and Van Juric, and they'll have to answer some very serious questions should the scoreline remain the same here. Atalanta will need a miraculous comeback with more extra pressure being piled on Van Juric. Matic, expertly done. He's happy for the foot wrong. The veteran. Just as I say that, he gives the ball away. Monti scrapping to get it back. Sari Kande. Now not able to it. Lovely interplay here from the Neroverdi. Here beating Pinamonti to the ball. Pinamonti was to gauge Sassuolo a 2-goal lead early on in this first half before Berardi got his second of the game. Brooklyn now. Set deep off corner and it's equal. Harry Woolwich. The Gitti ladder and to Villanova. To Anthony Field now playing for Pride. Asheric. Sassuolo looking for more as the ball is played over towards Loriote. Kome, who's still full of energy. Got to give credit to Matic, Tushvet and Kornen, who've been absolutely everywhere for Sassuolo in this match. As much as Atalanta are a bit below par, there's no doubt about that. They have been far worse than what they're capable of. To give credit to Sassuolo, who said at the end of the first half, will they be able to keep up this intensity? The answer is in degree, yes. Still time for Sassuolo to inflict even more pain on Atalanta. Atalanta hadn't lost by field goals to nil since 1963. That was against Inter Bergamo. Fifth and dashed with another breakaway Sassuolo goal. But it past them. They've been so clinical today. Football is a very fickle game. Atalanta had reason to come into this match with a lot of optimism following that win in the Champions League on Wednesday, but it's really planned out that way. Sassuolo have been the better side. So much negativity surrounding the club at the moment. It's worth repeating that in the last game week, on that Monday of last week, Sassuolo fell to what were then the worst side in SerieA so far this season, Genoa, and lost 2-1 at home. So they've been 4-0. It's not as if Sassuolo have been scintillating themselves, but produced their best. Yeah, Atalanta staring down the barrel. To get it, looking to Belanova. Fablevic will not be able to prevent the throw, but he did prevent the cross in for Belanova. Get still plugging away Pasalic. Absolutely no room to maneuver here. The Get in towards Lookman. Well, that's the best cross we've seen in this second half. LaDea. Bitch stayed at home. Towards confusion in the Sassuolo back line that Lookman not on hands. So match on to the end of it. Coming into this match, looking at the goal scoring statistics between none of these Atalanta attackers. There's so many goals in the squad, so much firepower up top, but it's bewildering why they've struggled so much in front of goal this season. You look at the likes of Lookman, who's averaging a goal every 2.45 games. Skamaka is every 2.5 games. Pasalic 1 in 5 for a sense midfielder, not bad. Krstovic 1 in 4. Sulinana 1 in 4. Yet still only 3 goals in this will be 7 games. That is not good enough for a club of Atalanta's size. Fabu to get back to the heights. Under the Desperate era, qualifying for Champions League year after year, getting to the quarterfinals when they were agonizingly knocked out by Real Madrid. That's where these Belgranaski fans feel their club should be. Not way away from that now. Belanova. Tube City. Kitamato has seen lots of the ball in the second half and failed to make things happen. Pasalic. To Skamaka. Nice strength shown by Skamaka. He puts it towards Pasalic. Well, it's a decent run for Sassuolo after the international break. They host Pisa over the MatchDay Stadium, and then Como away. With the start of the season, might have presented more of a problem, but Como, they're now the Salts recently under Cesc Fabregas, drawing far too many games. We were held to a 0-0 draw at home to Cagliari yesterday, so Sassuolo will go to the SerieA, fancied their chances there. And it's a home clash against Fiorentina, so 3 very winnable games for the Neroverdi, particularly if they play as they played here today. Full recap for you. Timo Benatti putting Sassuolo ahead after 30 minutes. This was the Andrea Pinamonti goal in 47 minutes. It's after the restart of place finish, beating Kamiseki. We criticised Andrea Pinamonti this season for not scoring enough goals, and took up one really well. But then Adby all the time in the world to pick his spots. I think Kamiseki could do about that one. Yeah, at the double, Pinamonti with his 4th goal of the season. It's all smiles that Sassuolo. We were unset the final 14 minutes of the 19th. And all eyes on the touchline there as Adon Lutman was tipping off Emildine Suleiman towards into the fray. Surely too little too late for Atalanta now. Hoping they get them, sure would be a consolation. Lutman was chosen to start from the off here by Juric, quelling rumours of a rift between the two following their altercation on the touchline in Marseille midweek. But Wood still struggling to find his best form this season. After that deal to Inter collapsed in the summer. Thoughts that he was on strike in the early stages of this campaign. Worked his way back into Juric's plans, but it's not the Adenola look with remember from years gone by. And yet a card for Fanikande. Bringing down to get the lad, a little fancy striking miss off from distance. Gamaka with the ball in his hands. Moved too eager there, Fanikande to make the ball away from the Ketelada. Used his body well. I think the favourites to strike towards goal here will be Lazar Samacic, but Gianluca Scamacca you come out to take this one for Atalanta. Just hovering over it with the right. There goes Gianluca Scamacca. Poor effort from the ex-Sassuolo man. Perhaps it would have been better to leave it for Samacic. No more as a free kick specialist than the Atalanta number 9. The story holding up for Sassuolo on the tough side. To a replacement for Fanikande, who was booked months ago. Scamacca with the foul on Kande. The master involvement, the him in the match as we enter the last 10 minutes here. The new Valets Arena. Sassuolo with a rather shocking 3-goal advantage. Goals from Birabdi. Pinamonti. It's a really impressive performance from Guinea-Bissau. Farikande coming into the side as a back. Into the club in the summer front Venezia as a centre-back, but he was shafted out to the left with Josh Lloyd coming on for these remaining 10 minutes. Very impressive performance from Sassuolo's number 5. This cat said that another very, very quiet. Doriolce. First touch for Doig. This is Tushtvens. Haramovic. Doig gets it from Doriolce. It's the banner holds this performance today. The ball, like Atalanta fans, fearful for the rest of the season. They came out the game against Udinese. This with a little bit of self-respect. They gave it a go, particularly in the latter stages. But here, they've already failed to create anything. Credit to Sassuolo. The key thing that they let a life lesson. Without any inspiration, particularly in attacking areas. Then Judic's side. Berardi. Now Tushtvens. These get even worse for Atalanta. Yeah, Tushtvens. Up to Ramnov Morionsen. Now Sassuolo for the first time in an half out of position defensively to get Ilare. So, fitting to this match. Get fast away. Bad shot performance. And Pinamonti was criticised against his old side Genoa, not doing enough in attacking areas, but he's been absolutely everywhere for your away side, helping hold them all up. Samata turn to the bench one final time. Davide Zappacosta makes way, and we call that Samlevski. He's then introduced. Thought to put some respect on the FullMatch floor. The sign for Bergamo. To get Ilari. Thinking on Tushtvens to get Ilari. He's done really well. Palmed away by the goalkeeper. And Anizes was on hand to make the clearance. Villanova. And they've really taken away from Atalanta in the first 2 minutes of this second half, and Andrea Pinamonti doubling Sassuolo's advantage and had to be hitting them on the counter attack. Good. Pasalic. Out to Jupe City. Now Villanova. Italado on the spin. This is Pasalic. Into Gianluca Scabacca. Selflessly done by the number 9, trying to find Pasalic. Might have been better off going for goal there. Great to see Gianluca Scamacca back fit again, but doesn't half ride the shadow of his former self. Scamacca really get Doig. Got 2 options in the centre, one of them is Pasalic. This is Nikola Zanlevski looking to place one. I think that's his first touch since coming on moments ago. But a bit dip around Mulic. Sassuolo touted by Neri at the beginning of the season to go straight back down to Serie B, but they're showing no sign of that. Before a ball was kicked today, they were 12th in the table. Things do stay the same. Here, though, into the 3 o'clock kickoffs, they will rise up to 8th in the SerieA standings, above the marks of Matsu, Udinese, Cremonese and Torino. course. The hosts today, Atalanta, dropped at 13 after nearly a third of the season. Clock winding down now, and nothing Atalanta can do to change the results here. They're just playing for pride. Just bundling into Kamaldeen Suleiman. Villanova. Calcio City. You do get those days in football where everything you try doesn't quite come off, and it's been one of those days for Atalanta. Skamaka on Kamaldeen Suleiman. This is Zanevski now, and quick 1 moments ago. Zanevski pulled about the cross. Instead he goes with the left, blocked by Belokic. Fabio Villosa turning to his bench one more time as Nannoni and Khedira look to be coming on. One with did, and one by Matic, who's been a rock in the centre of the bar for the Neroverdi. This is Skamaka. To the box, his eyes amidst that bed, and Lucas Skamaka, he didn't have time to think about it. He swung right booted it. To get in out of here, Villanova on the outside. Atalanta get that consolation goal. Play by Removic. Sassuolo looked to have a great player on their hands. The Bosnian centre half. Full international with Bosnia and Herzegovina. He'll be involved in their 2 matches coming up in the World Cup qualification process. Tushbets. The verge of parity of signing a new contract here at Sassuolo. That was such an important player at the centre of the bar. From the box, Norwegian. Hadini player of the match, contenders up across the Bioling Atalanta candidates. Pinamonti, Berardi, and Benitez. Tough to choose. Antiches had a good game too to deflect Ivanimovic in the back line. Because of the 2 goals and the way they presented the chance to Pinamonti, you'd have to give it to Mimo Berardi amongst the goals after winning his first of the season on Monday against Genoa. 2 today, an assist to match. He goes Skamaka. How about efforts that they're sailing over the bar? He's not put his shooting boots on today. A triple change in the 90th minute for Sassuolo. Pinamonti, Berardi and Cornet was on admirably come off. Is Khedira, Nannoni and Chiarini, who hints up for the Neroverdi. That's 4 minutes of time added on. I'm not sure either of the 2 sides wish to play those 4 minutes. Sort of foregone conclusion ever since Domenico Berardi got Sassuolo's 3rd halfway through this second half. The big question now is whether Ivan Juric will be in charge of Atalanta following the international break. One doesn't wish to speculate about the future of any coach or manager of the Italian game, but he's under severe pressure poverties have been so dire at Mostum Danese, as well as this loss here. Falls against Milan and Cremonese, a draw in the Champions League, at home to Slavia Prague. They really should have won that one. As we said previously in this second half, it's not the fact that they're not winning dates. They don't look like winning dates. That's the problem. Kittilane, credit to him, he's still trying to make something happen. Samacic. Lofted towards Zanetski. Nice take. This is Sulemana. Lovely play from Kanalzin. Sulemana hit towards Zanetski. Who's there in the way once again? Nemanja Matic, the veteran, this late stage. The dealer goes down under the challenge of Pasalic to relieve the pressure on Sassuolo. But he hasn't put a football today, Nemanja Matic. Big question whether he still had it in the legs to play 90 minutes at this level. He's answered those critics emphatically. He's arguably been Sassuolo's most important player this season. Another fine performance from the Serbian. Zalewski to Samacic. Getting out to Villanova. That's a really missed Martin de Rood in the centre of the park. That's out once again by Ivan Juric. This is Charles Kittilane. Last chance for Atalanta to get a goal back. Skamaka on the turn. Easy Umwich. Well, you cannot fault these home fans. They've been singing from minute 1 to minute 93. Their side, they've been below par once again this season against the newly promoted side, against a side who came here expecting to roll over easily. And their support hasn't wavered. It's coiled during this second half. These could have got ugly. I do feel things will get ugly very soon for Ivan Juric. To Schwetz, around the corner for Lorient. Atalanta fans heading to the exits here. 30 seconds left. Udalance Arena. Back-to-back defeats for Atalanta. Is this the end of the road for Ivan Juric? Newly promoted Sassuolo pulled off perhaps the shock of the season so far in their debut. Lethargic, lifeless and listless LaDea slid to another defeat in Serie A. The post-Gasperini era is turning into a nightmare for Atalanta. Credit to Sassuolo. Goals from Berardi, one from the penalty spot, one on the counter-attack. Pinamonti in between those two goals, and Sassuolo emerge victorious in Bergamo. Final score at the New Balance Arena: Atalanta 0, Sassuolo 3. Great initial ball from Cornet to find Berardi, who still had a lot of work to do. Zappacosta sucked in. Samacic did want to take the risk to concede another penalty. Berardi into Pinamonti, too strong for Jim City. And how about that for a finish to beat Garnesecchi? Composure and vision showed by Berardi, and the same too for Pinamonti. Well, things could get ugly here, New Balance Arena, in the second half. Sassuolo leading by 2-0. Where do Atalanta go from here? Samacic thought about the strike. Samajic couldn't keep it down. Then scored a belter in the Champions League against Marseille, that winning goal right at the death to give Atalanta 3 points in the Champions League, but he couldn't repeat the trick here, Samajic. Let's have a look at this here from Pinamonti. The touch, the swivel, the shots. Benachim City introduced during the half-time break to try to add a little bit of solidarity and physical presence into that back line for Atalanta, and he was beaten far too easily. 4 goals already this season for Pinamonti. Ratio better than one at Keen 3. He's enjoying himself.